Hey, and welcome to today's episode. Well, today's episode is going to be a little bit of an experiment, a lot of a hybrid, because it's going to be so much more like my secret podcast than the mainstream podcast. And it's also, to be honest, a turning point, a declaration, and something that I trust will also empower you to create the most aligned business and career that not only supports and serves you, but gives you the path in which you can deliver your greatest impact, or at least the inspiration for you to get onto that path. So, if you are my secret podcast listener, then I would start with, hey friend. So I was contemplating. About 3 weeks ago, I went to see a movie with my kids, and we watched this movie, and it was freaking brilliant, and I loved it. And it initiated something in me. In fact, it reminded me of something really important, and something that was honestly so deep inside of me, and I had been avoiding so much that I'd almost forgotten about it. And anyway, I came out of this movie and I was like, oh shit, there's this dream in me. There is this goal. There is this thing that I want to do, ultimately, this person that I want to be, this future version of me that's still at 50, I have a deep desire to become. And with this inspiration, with this connection to this big goal, this, the goal itself, I am going to keep to myself. And there's a couple of reasons for that. I do that when I'm manifesting something that is way out of my comfort zone, that I don't share the details with people because I'm not really interested in their opinion and what they have to say, or what their friend Joe did, or how Bob said that'll never work. Not interested. I don't want that in my head. So I'm not being coy. However, this is an important part of my manifestation process. And the point of the story is that this big dream was reawakened in me. And at the moment that I was so incredibly inspired, I was also so vividly aware of the fear, of the, oh, that's a big stretch, Emma. You've come a long way, but that's still a lot. Do you think you can really do that on your own? Do you think that's even possible for someone like you? Do you think you're smart enough? Do you think you know enough? Do you think you even have enough time to do that? And I was so aware of the heavy weight of fear that has always lingered with this specific goal. I also realized that one of the things, and if you listen to this podcast recently, ever since I recorded last month's transits with Yvette, I've really been sitting with, and thank you, by the way, to everyone who reached out after that episode, really been sitting with that impatience of, oh my God, I want my king to come in. And needless to say, like, I have absolutely no impatience now. In fact, I have care factor nil, and I'll get to the reason why. And what I realized after that podcast, and this was about, maybe it was like in the same sort of few days where I recorded that, I got a bunch of feedback, lots of things to kind of contemplate, respond to, sit with. Then I went and got this like inspiration, initiation, this recommitment to this huge goal, and this realization that on some level, I was still trying to outsource a large part of this goal to calling in a man that would help me get there. And With that realization, part of me was honestly, a little bit ashamed. Another part of me was like, yeah, fuck, can I do that on my own? Can I really be a woman that does that? Because the goal is, where I'm heading, let's just say it's not female dominated. It's not even like female equality. Like, it's a heavily male dominated category, industry. And I had all of this like swirling around in me. Big goal. Oh my God, I'm like, I want this goal, yet I'm trying to call in this person that's basically going to be my cheat sheet, if you like, to get to this goal. And it really made me sit with this, well, if you want it, you have to become it. And one of the things that really came to me over the next couple of weeks was this understanding of how, as women, we are so deeply and heavily conditioned to believe that we're not enough, that us on our own, we're not enough, that we have to ask permission from somebody else, that we can only reach for the stars once everyone else is taken care of, once our kids are taken care of, our partners are taken care of. We've ticked all the other boxes. And then if we're lucky enough not to be fucking comatose by that stage, then and only then can we go after our dreams. And one of my all-time favorite reels, it's a Goldie Hawn reel. And maybe if my amazing Sherelle, who does all my editing, I'll get her to, at the very least, put the link in the show notes so you can go and check it out. But she might even be able to just edit it in here.
Money is the biggest problem with all of this, because if every woman in this room was independent, if she was someone who had her own money, her own understanding of how to use it, and her own resources, marriage would take a very different view today. Because that is why we can all sit up here and say, well, I choose to be married. No, we get to choose to be married. We get to make those decisions. It has to do with, it creates a freedom. You have a base. You've made yourself a root system. You've been able to stand on your own 2 feet. And you don't have to say, honey, I saw the cutest dress today. Oh, it was so cute. I loved it. Do you think I could get it? Yeah. So when you don't have to put that on, and you really can come out with all of who you are, with all of your likes and dislikes, and all of your things that you approve of and you disapprove of, and you have the freedom to say it, because you have the freedom.
But basically, Goldie Hawn, and this is back in, I'm going to say like the 90s-ish, could have been earlier. No, it must be the 90s-ish or early 2000s, around there. She's sitting on the couch on Oprah, and she basically says that women's choices dramatically improve once they become financially sovereign. But up until the point that they have their own money, they educate themselves about their money, and they can stand on their own 2 feet, things like marriage have a completely different meaning. Because women still today are at a disadvantage when it comes to creating stability, security, and providing for ourselves. Because at the end of the day, especially if we have children, there's a lot of others that we need to take care of. There's a lot of energy that we're expelling, and we're on other people's timelines, other people's, calendars, if you like, when it comes to our children. We live in this time, we're expected to kind of be able to do it all, have it all. And our energy doesn't even work that way. Like, we don't have consistent energy day in, day out. It's going to ebb and flow. And this really got me thinking about, we talk a lot in my space about creating the masculine container within your business. So your business can support you through whatever you need it to support you through, and it gives you the freedom to predominantly inhabit the feminine energy. So let me give you an example of what I'm talking about, because my business is that. So the last 12 months, especially the last sort of 6 months or 4 months of last year, the first few months of this year, I was not in a position to give any attention to my business. As I was going through separation, divorce, I was healing a lot of trauma. I was emotionally healing, heavily triggered, still, raising two boys, 100% financially responsible for me and my children, still parenting, leading the family, the children, leading the business, all of these things. And I did not have a spare ounce of energy to give to creation of this business, or even the management of this business was at its bare minimum. But the business I've created has this strong masculine structure. This business that I've created, and it's not just me, it's my team. Taylor is absolutely intrinsic to this. So is Sherelle, so is Amanda. And the point is that we've built this business that when I came to a time in my life where I was experiencing crisis and that I felt like every single thing was on my shoulders, my business took care of me. I didn't need to show up for my business, because whether it was the team, whether it was the strategies that we've implemented, whether it's the container that we've built, whether it's our marketing, whether it's whatever it was all taken care of. And going back to Goldie Hawn, it really made me realize that as women, it is so important that we can be our provider and protector, that we can create something that really supports the masculine structures around us so that we can move and inhabit and embody our natural feminine leadership. And that made me think, okay, well, I actually feel that my bigger mission, and we all know if you've listened to this with any, at all, that I want to take human design mainstream. Oh my God. And it's already happening, we're doing it. It's landing, it's transforming, it's having the impact. But I really believe that I've woken up to this bigger mission. And yes, it's a mission as a personal profile, a 3-5 profile, that is really calling me forward as creating my own financial independence. And yes, I have it already, but next level. It's creating my sovereignty. It's giving me this thing that Goldie Hawn talked about, is like the freedom of choice, the freedom to literally say, no, you can't manipulate me. No, you can't tell me what to do. No, I don't have to stick to your rules. No, I don't have to do it the way you say it. No, I have to do it. And I really believe that a large part, and this is what my mission is really evolving into, is to help women build this financial sovereignty, that they can literally stand in their own power, create whatever they want to create, have the impact that they want to have, and not fucking kill themselves, burn out, not be available to their children. It's all and they can have the money, and they can have their children around, and they can write their own rules, and they can say yes when they want to say yes. And even more than that, they can say fucking no when it's not right for them, and fucking stop all of this manipulation. Now, that is a massive generalization, and I'm not into pointing fingers or being a victim or focusing on the unresourceful. So I don't really want to stay here long. However, there was one really poignant moment in tea ceremony, because fucking every tea ceremony there's a poignant moment, where I just heard my voice, and the most powerful version of my voice in my head, say, I am done with being controlled and manipulated, conditioned and pushed down. I am done. And again, I feel like this is part of that mission, to really be able to empower myself. You know what? If other people have achieved this thing, then there's no reason why I can't achieve this thing. And then me being me and every other thing I've achieved in my life, I'm like, well, babe, this is so much bigger than you. Like you're aligned, you're a personal profile, so it's about you, but you're walking your path so you can empower others to do the same thing. Because at the end of the day, we need to have the freedom to make the decisions and the choices that are correct for us and that are correct for our children. And that means that we cannot be controlled, manipulated, minimized by anyone. Now, as I said, I don't want to go into the fact that that is still happening and whose fault it is, because at the end of the day, that's not my remit. I'm not interested in whose fault it is. I'm just drawing a line in the sand, and I'm a solutions-based line 5 over here that wants to work out the best way forward and then just share it with as many people as I can. The whole point to this story is that when I had that awareness, I knew that I had to step up, that I had to choose to believe in myself even bigger, even better than I have already. Because there was a part of my ego that was like, hey, I got a multiple 7-figure business. It continues to grow. We're doing better and better. We're getting, the book's selling. The podcast is doing great. I've got these other things, the projects that I'm working on. The masterminds fill out every time. Retreats fill out every time. I fucking love it. Doesn't feel like work. So there was a part of me that was like, and I could just like sit on my hands. Like, this is sweet. I'm all over investing. I'm learning more and more about money. I'm, getting my money to work for me. And that's super fine. That's great. Awesome. Except there is this part of me deeper in my heart and soul that's like, hey, but remember that thing you dreamed about as a kid? That thing that at 50 you still dream about? Well, that's now in your grasp. If you choose to step up, to believe in yourself, and to begin to take imperfect action towards that dream. And now, would you believe that I made the declaration? I told 2 people that, honestly, like 2 of the closest people to me, actually 3 people, the 3 closest people to me. And now I've said it, I can't go back on it, because these are 3 people that I have to fucking keep my word to. I mean, I kept my word to everyone, but that's why I told them. And within a week, inspiration came in that I was like, oh, hang on a second. That's something I'd like to do. And it sent me down a path that, although right out of my comfort zone, something I've never done before, but now I've got human design, so I just followed it. I just followed the path. I took the actions. I got good support and help, asked questions, took the next action. And potentially, I've just discovered one of the huge stepping stones to get me to this big fucking goal that I've got. Now, appreciate I'm talking in code. And if you follow me on the Secret Podcast, I am actually going to share it on the Secret Podcast because it's like a journal to me. So I would love to be able to look back on this in 6 months, 12 months time and go, fuck, that was the beginning of this first piece. And this is like the reason why I'm sharing this with you is because I'm going to do a series starting next episode. I'm going to really hone in on business with human design. Now, if you've been around a while, you might be going, hang on a second, you started down the business path, but then you kind of like circled back and stopped it. And here's the truth. I went down the business path, was it 12 months ago? And I, honest to God, or at least I honestly, in hindsight, it was a self-sabotage because I was like, who am I? I don't really know anything about business. I know how to succeed for me, but can I really teach business? And I started teaching business and it was doing really well and we were going really well. And then I just like freaked out and then other shit happened in my life. So that did make a big, that kind of pulled me backwards out of it. However, I realized that I had not yet stepped into the identity of the level of the entrepreneur that I am becoming. What does that mean? It means that I was quite comfortable with the business that I'd created, but to go down this path to actually own the identity of a successful entrepreneur, and let's say, yeah, 7-figure entrepreneur, apparently I'm comfortable with that. But what about 8-figure? What about 9-figure? What about this other frontier that I'm as yet to kind of navigate, that I definitely want to head in? So over the last few months, we've definitely been talking so much more about business, especially inside HDX. We've got some products coming up. Wait till you hear about our next US retreat. Oh my God, I think it's going to sell out in 24 hours, to be honest. Because the truth is, I'm fucking brilliant at business. Like, I'm fucking brilliant at business. I've helped so many people create profitable businesses that give them financial independence. It gives them sovereignty. And more than that, it actually gives them the masculine container, the thing that is providing and protecting so that they can be more in their feminine, so they can be aligned to themselves. And I think this is such a beautiful dance that we can have with our business. So ultimately, I'm telling you my own personal story because, and this is something I say all the time in my containers, I said it just this morning in my mastermind, Magnetic by Design, is that please share your stories, please share your questions, please share what you discover, because if I'm feeling it or you're feeling it, then other people are. So the reason why I'm sharing this with you is because if I hear the most common thing I hear about my secret podcast is, fuck, I feel like you're talking straight to my soul. I'm 2 steps behind you, or you're just ahead of me, or it just resonates with me. So this is why I'm doing this. Number one, I'm declaring that there is a massive, massive goal that I'm going after. And since stepping into the identity of the entrepreneur that will have this goal, or that has this goal, I'm here fully owning that I'm fucking brilliant at business. Like, off the charts, brilliant at business. And ultimately, my mission is, yes, for me to achieve this big goal. However, more importantly, what's really fulfilling is that when or as I achieve each step to that goal, it means that I can teach it to you. I can share what I've learned with you. I can bring everyone along with me. Because as we move towards this new paradigm, we must understand that the power is with the people. The power is with us as individuals. So it's our responsibility to set up our life in a way that we are taking full responsibility for the results we have, and that we have full sovereignty over the lives we live. Then we can come together in community and support each other, rise together, take care of each other, and start to fucking build the new as this old world is crumbling. Let it fucking burn, let it burn, because there is something beautiful being birthed right now. This is the potential that we're moving towards. So having said that, if you are inside my community, you are going to hear a lot more about this and a lot more about business, because at the end of the day, I feel like I have made my emotional connection to business in the fact that, going back to that Goldie Hawn video, we have power as women when we have sovereignty. And what do we need for sovereignty? We need financial independence. Whether we like it or not, we need financial independence. And the thing about women is we're so driven for service, for impact, for making a difference. And I really want to make sure that we can do that and have financial independence. Let's educate ourselves. Let's support each other. Let's grow. Let's reach for the stars and our own personal stars, not what everyone else thinks we should reach for. I'm designed to reach like this, to really go for the big goals. And I have been that way ever since I was little. And if you're listening to this, because inside my community, I said to T this week, I'm like, we just have to be really conscious. Not everybody wants to build this sort of a business. They don't all want to have a big global business. They don't want to have global reach. A lot of people are just going to want to earn 200 to 300,000 a year and have a good impact. And, it's the ripple effect. And that's how they impact their millions. And honestly, T just turned around and said to me, babe, yes. And our community, every second word is global. So if you're here and if you're in our community, we hear you. We hear you want to have a big global impact. And well, fucking, we are the right people to get you there. But I'm going to tell you a little bit of a secret. It's not us. It's you. The one thing that all successful people have in common is that they believe in themselves. They choose to believe in themselves. Self-worth and self-belief is not something that just appears over time. It's something that you have to decide, well, fuck it. I'm just going to back myself. I'm just going to love myself. I'm just going to choose. Do your rituals, follow your routines, do whatever it takes to keep that close to your heart all the time. But no, that is the one thing that's going to lead you to success. Believing that you're already successful, that your success is inevitable. So, with that in mind, with me fully owning my brilliance in a visionary space, again, my superpower is the visionary. I was talking to T today. I'm like, dude, I'm the Steve Jobs and she's the Wozniak, whatever. What was his first name? Can't remember his first name. But, the guy who did all that, like the Apple guy who actually created all the tech, right? But you can't have one without the other. You cannot have one without the other. So fully owning, and it's taken me, honestly, it's taken me time to believe that being the visionary is worthy, is as worthy, as the role that T does in the business, which I think is kind of fucking insane because I would never want to do that role in the business. I don't want to be meticulous with details and, master marketing. And I don't want to master the back end of Kajabi. I'm not interested in any of that. Literally, I'd rather bang my head on a table. But the truth is, me as the visionary, you want me to get up on a stage and talk about it? You want me to talk on a podcast? Do you want me to see a vision for what's possible and then just be seemingly half crazy because I'm like, oh, fuck, I'm just going to go out and make it happen. I'm going to get out of my comfort zone. I'm going to talk to people I've never spoken to. I'm going to suggest shit that this is the first time I've ever gone. I'm going to literally forge a new path. Oh, yeah, shit, I can do that with my eyes closed with a good dose of a little bit of vomit in my mouth because, you can't grow without discomfort. But my point is, if you're listening to this, you don't necessarily have to be the visionary. You can also be the person that is behind the visionary, but just as valuable. That's creating, so much of the structure, of the masculine of the business. So anyway, with all of that said, I am going to do a little series for the next 4 episodes where I'm going to just talk a little bit about business by design, and I'm going to have a look at type and profile and a couple of other things to really get you into this whole headspace, mindset, identity that you don't have to listen to me as a manifesting generator and create a business that looks like mine. I want you to understand that you're designed perfectly, and whatever business you create is going to be perfect for you. But you have to learn to be able to trust yourself, your path, your strategy, your authority, because we live in a time where if you're listening to this podcast, then the reality is you're out the front. You might not have too many role models or mentors or too many people that are ahead of you. And I remember saying to a friend of mine that I studied with, I was like, God, I just wish I had a mentor. I wish I had someone that I kind of worked with and trained with and, that I could always call upon. And I was kind of moaning about this, complaining about it. And my friend Ange just said, oh, for God's sake, Emma, be your own mentor. And it was like this really simple yet profound moment for me because I was like, oh, yeah, fuck. That's really good advice. That is really good advice. And one of the things that, it really sent me down this path of okay, I do have everything I need within me. Yes, sometimes I'm going to have to go to different coaches or different strategies or different whatever to bring my dreams into fruition, sure. But at the end of the day, it has to be from listening to me, to where I'm being guided, to what my intuition is telling me, for who I am at my core, my authentic self, my higher self. At the end of the day, no one else can tell me how to succeed. They can show me it's possible, but I'm the one that has to choose to step up and be the best version of me and just back myself, like blindly back myself. And ultimately, you guys know it, human design is the best way to do it. So, hopefully that excites you. Hopefully you enjoyed my own personal story. And as I said, if you want to kind of play along, I will be talking about this process of me heading down this road to this huge goal and this first step that's kind of just shown up in my life. I will be sharing that on the Secret podcast. So feel free to go and check it out. Well, thank you for joining me on this kind of hybrid. This is a lot more like my Secret podcast, more like a personal journal. And at the same time, it's very much the topic that I'm going to be focusing on more and more and more is really creating aligned business, financial independence, sovereignty, so that we can really support women to have great success, build masculine structures around them so that they can really embody the feminine leadership that they've come here to embody. So, yeah, I trust that you got what you needed from today's episode. I hope you'll join me on the next series. And I so look forward to having you on the next one. Bye for now.